Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's dive into another round of news from America's team. There's a lot to cover this offseason, and some significant changes could be on the horizon for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the most talked about predictions is the Cowboys potentially cutting ties with their $40 million playmaker in the upcoming offseason. Over the last decade or so, Cowboys receiver Brandon Cooks has established himself as a reliable and consistent threat no matter where he's played. Though he hasn't necessarily reached the elite status of some of the NFL's top wide receivers, Cooks has been a key contributor in every team he's been a part of. In fact, in his 11-year career, spanning 5 different franchises, Cooks has racked up 6 1,000-yard seasons. That's a remarkable feat considering the number of different systems and quarterbacks he's played with. Cooks joined the Cowboys for the 2023 season, when they acquired him in a trade for a 5th-round pick in 2023 and a 6th-round pick in 2024. At the time, many viewed the trade as a relatively low-risk move for Dallas, considering the relatively small draft capital involved. It's fair to say that this trade paid off, with Cooks stepping in to provide solid production as a complementary receiver to CeeDee Lamb. In 2023, Cooks caught 54 passes for 657 yards and 8 touchdowns, showing his value as a reliable target for quarterback Dak Prescott. While Cooks wasn't a dominant force in the league, he proved to be a great second option for the Cowboys offense, and it looked like the Cowboys had made a smart move by adding him to their roster. However, Cook's 2024 season was a different story. The wide receivers struggled to stay healthy, dealing with a lingering knee injury that significantly hampered his performance. Cooks caught just 26 passes for 259 yards, which was a steep decline from his previous year. Now, as he hits free agency, it appears that Cook's time in Dallas is coming to an end. With the Cowboys looking to rebuild their receiving room for the future, the likelihood of Cooks returning to Dallas seems slim. At this point, it's almost certain that the Cowboys will let Cooks walk in free agency, especially with the increasing need to infuse the receiver room with younger, more dynamic players. In fact, on the Cowboys fan site Blogging the Boys, there is widespread consensus that not only will Cooks leave the Cowboys, but he's likely to sign with their division rivals, the Washington Commanders. Cooks would reportedly be joining former Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn in Washington, where he could play a key role as they look to improve their own receiving core. A potential deal could see Cooks signing a 2-year, $18 million contract with the Commanders, which would further signal the end of his tenure in Dallas. Cooks is now 32 years old, and while he's had a solid career, he doesn't fit into the Cowboys' long-term plans. With CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert, Jonathan Mingo, and Jalen Brooks all locked in for next season, the Cowboys have an influx of talent at wide receiver, and it seems likely they will use a high draft pick to further bolster the position. While the trade for Brandon Cooks remains one of the best offseason moves for Dallas in recent years, the reality is that his time with the Cowboys appears to be over. This is likely to be a summer of change for the Cowboys as they make significant moves to refresh their roster. One of those moves could involve selecting a wide receiver in the upcoming draft, and the Cowboys may be willing to swing big in the first round. While the top wide receiver prospects, such as Tito McMillan from Arizona, might be out of reach by the time Dallas picks at number 12, there are still promising options available. Players like Luther Burton from Missouri or Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State could be within range and would provide the Cowboys with young, explosive playmaking talent to complement CeeDee Lamb. If the Cowboys don't go receiver-heavy in the first round, they could also look for an impact player in the second round, where there's still a deep pool of talented wide receivers available. It's possible that Dallas could make a move in free agency to bolster their receiving core as well. But the pool of free agent receivers this offseason isn't particularly exciting. The Cowboys have been cautious with their spending, and it's unlikely they'll want to overpay for a player who doesn't fit into their long-term plans. Though there's been speculation about a potential trade for disgruntled Dolphins star Tyreek Hill, that's seen as a long shot, as Hill's contract and his play style may not align with the Cowboys' needs. It's more probable that Dallas will look for younger, more cost-effective options in both the draft and free agency to continue building for the future. In addition to rebuilding their receiving room, the Cowboys may also be focused on re-signing some of their key players and making sure they have a competitive roster for the 2025 season. One of the more intriguing developments this offseason is the potential for a reunion with a former Dallas Cowboys star, Amari Cooper, who was traded away to the Cleveland Browns and subsequently to the Buffalo Bills, has been named as one of the top 50 free agents for the 2025 offseason. Christopher Knox of Bleacher Report suggested that Dallas could be one of the top suitors for Cooper's services. While Cooper's first stint with the Cowboys was highly productive, he was ultimately traded to the Browns after 2 seasons. However, Cooper was still an elite performer in Cleveland, earning Pro Bowl honors in 2023. His trade to the Bills came just before the November trade deadline, and while his numbers dipped in 2024, his potential return to Dallas remains a possibility, especially with the Cowboys needing a reliable second receiver alongside CeeDee Lamb. Cooper's familiarity with Dak Prescott, along with his ability to step into a number 2 receiver role, makes him a strong candidate for a reunion with the Cowboys. The 31-year-old receiver is likely to have a lower salary demand in 2025 compared to previous seasons, which could make him a more affordable option for the Cowboys if they decide to pursue him. His connection with Prescott and his proven ability to produce at a high level could provide the Cowboys with another weapon in the passing game, which is crucial for their success moving forward. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are also keeping an eye on the head coaching situation. Mike McCarthy's future with the Cowboys has been a subject of much speculation, and while some rumors have suggested that McCarthy could be on his way out, the recent developments suggest otherwise. After the Chicago Bears requested permission to interview McCarthy for their head coach vacancy, Jerry Jones quickly denied the request, signaling that McCarthy is likely to remain with the Cowboys for the 2025 season. While nothing is official yet, it's clear that McCarthy will be back, and Jones is likely working on negotiating a new contract with him. Interestingly, the New York Jets have also been linked to potential head coaching candidates, but they have not requested an interview with McCarthy. This is seen by many as another strong indication that McCarthy is staying put in Dallas. The Jets have a long list of candidates, but McCarthy's exclusion from that list suggests that the Cowboys have no intention of letting him go. McCarthy, who has a Super Bowl ring and a strong playoff pedigree, is considered a valuable asset for the Cowboys, and it seems likely that they'll lock him in for the foreseeable future. As the offseason unfolds, it's clear that the Cowboys have several important decisions to make, from rebuilding the receiving core to making moves to keep key players like Mike McCarthy and CeeDee Lamb around for the long haul. The future of the Cowboys is very much in motion, and it will be exciting to see how the team continues to evolve and position itself for future success. While some familiar faces may leave, others could return, and new talent could emerge to help Dallas get one step closer to winning the Super Bowl that has eluded them for so long.